What up, world? Your boy Charles Brown back again with another review. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification. All right, man. What do you want me to say, bro? Like, be honest. What you want me to say right now? Simple fact. I'm going to talk about something that, to try to break it down in a quick video, is impossible. Right? It would take me longer than the entire album length to try to break that album down for you. Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, right? I'm going to review that album as best I can. I know there's a lot of people saying a lot of things, and you probably hear basketball in the background because some kids are playing basketball outside my window, and that's life. And that's what this album is about. It's life, right? It's life. Let me start with this. I want to say this right now. This piece of art, right? You might be judging this wrong. You might be judging this album wrong, right? You may be thinking that you're listening to a rap album. You may be listening for beats. And you may be listening for bars. This is something else, bro. Let me just say this. Somebody asked me the other day, what if the album is trash? Before it came out, when I said, in the video right before this, when I said that Kendrick jumped into the #1 spot of MCs of all time. Just with the Heart Part 5. I said, with his body of work, what he's been doing over the years, what MCing, what it takes to be a real MC, when you're not just rappity rap, you're just rapping to be rapping, right? Just saying, putting words in front of words. When you're doing what this culture really calls for the real MC to do, this guy has done it 10 times over. He's bumped some of my favorite MCs out of #1 spot. I'm talking about revered rappers, right? I gave my top 5 before. I gave my top 10 before, right? And I said KRS-One has moved them all. I'm sorry, Kendrick has moved them all. KRS-One was moved. Big Daddy Kane was moved. Rakim was moved. Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, Tupac, Scarface, Ice Cube, LL Cool J, Eminem. They all had to move out the way, and J. Cole had to move out of the way of that #1 spot to Kendrick. And I know a lot of people think that's just egregious. It's weird, and they don't understand why I say that. But I've been listening to hip-hop for a very long time. I've been doing hip-hop. I used to go breakdance on cardboards, right? I wasn't a great spray painter, but I've done that before. I know how to write graffiti, right? I know how to rap. I know how to DJ. There's not an element of hip-hop you can tell me. I know how to make clothes. There ain't an element of hip-hop you can tell me that I don't know about, that I haven't done physically in my hands myself, right? I did all of it. I've seen it all. I've seen it when it wasn't even really called hip-hop like that. They didn't know what to call it, right? And I'm here right now in 2022 with everything I've seen, every show I've gone to, every song I've heard, telling you, in all them years, right, over 40-something years of listening to this music, this man has tapped into fearless MCing. He ain't just a rapper, he's an artist. But when he raps, it's fearless, right? A lot of the stuff this guy is saying, a lot of these guys wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. He says it on the album. A lot of these guys are scared of getting canceled. A lot of these guys won't even make a statement on a regular old cop shooting because they're scared. They won't make a comment on a regular protest because they are afraid of what's going to happen to their precious careers, right? When these guys reach a certain level with this rapping, you can't get an honest answer out of them to save your life. Last person that said something that people didn't like was the Baby. And that dude been fighting every single day to try to get back his stature. That dude damn near lost his whole career. Yeah, in the hood, he's still good, but everywhere else, good luck. And they scared of that. I ain't saying what he said was right, wrong, or indifferent, but he said something that people didn't like. And these rappers are scared to say that. This dude Kendrick has no fear. As an MC, you're supposed to have no fear. Right, wrong, and indifferent. If it's part of your narrative, you're supposed to speak to us about it. You're supposed to say something. And it's supposed to touch us some kind of way. A lot of the things on this album have been very, very, very sparingly addressed, if at all. And they're completely and quickly bypassed by most, or if not all, of the hip hop community, right? We get a couple guys who can take us deep here and there. It's a lot of them, but all of them don't get. Most of them don't get the airplay they need or the promotion they need, right? TDE is a fearless label who has done just that. They've pushed Kendrick into the subconscious and the forefront of the mainstream media. And it's been a journey, but this guy, who some say is too smart for the genre, right? Whatever that means, right? Has become more than just a spokesman of the, because he doesn't just represent hip hop, but he is the forefront, the epitome of what it could be and what it should be, right? And all hip hop has a lot of subcultures. There's a lot of different variables in hip hop. And if there's one man who can stand flat-footed in any of them, right? It's Kendrick. He can stand in all of them. Do you know how many different variations of hip hop they got out there? I'm not even talking about foreign language. I'm not even gonna get into Euro and Asian and Russian hip hop, because this man stands in that, and they revere him over there. I'm talking about just here with you got the drill, you got the thug gangster stuff, you got the dance music, you got the commercial, you got the R&B, the singers, the trap music. Then you got the conscious guys. Then you got the backpack guys that don't want to hear nothing but bars. They don't want to hear nothing but battle rap, right? Then you got the overly super like Puritans, the backpackers. You got the white conscious rappers who don't want to do nothing, for lack of a better word, they don't want to do nothing with black content. Their content is all about what white artists want to rap about, right? And that's a splinter of white commercial rap, right? With the Macklemores and the, I'm not gonna say Mac Miller, but you get where I'm going. So there's so many levels, and this guy mastered them all. He can. This album can stand in any of those lanes and be better than all of them at any given time, at any given day, right? It is smart, and you do have to be smart in a way to understand it, but you don't got to be that smart, right? You have to have a desire to learn something. And I'm going to let you know a secret. Smart people desire to learn more. That's why they're smart. They're not inherently smart, just coming out the womb all the time. Some of this stuff you got to study. Some of these people study nonstop. They read books. They watch videos. They go to lectures, right? They sit down with their constituents. They go into group chats, community open forums, and they learn things. And when you are determined to learn things, you learn things. So you don't got to be a genius to understand Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to understand where this is going. Now, it goes so many places, you will have to listen to it more than once. This is not something you're going to digest in an hour. With one spin, you think you got it all. I want to talk about this album because normally I go song for song. I'm not going to go song for song on a double CD, for one. And I'm not going to go song for song. When I feel like this body of work, right, is so cohesive, it's so coherent. This is a masterpiece. Let me just say that. For all of you wondering what my grade's going to be, it's going to be A+++++, which is a classic. I'm really not entertaining anything less than a classic. You can have your opinion, right? I don't mind someone saying it was good, but it's fall short, this, that. That's fine. It has nothing to do with my opinion of this. Right? I'm not going to force you or argue with you that this is a classic. If you don't think this is a classic, that's great for you, for your opinion. But I feel like in any genre of any music, this is a work of art. It has so many different forms of music on this album. There's something on here in every single solitary label of music, right? You can label it something, Kendrick has it on here. This guy has classical music on here. There's everything on here. And the simple fact that a person would go through this and try to pick out which songs are better than others, it boggles me. It's like when Jay-Z wouldn't let them put American Gangster on Apple because, and this is his reasoning, he didn't want it to be used as singles. He didn't want it to be, you can pick it off as singles. You could take this one song, that song. He wanted it to be played in its entirety. Go look it up. Jay-Z wanted American Gangster, the soundtrack to that movie. He said, this is not an album that you're going to pick songs from here and song from there. And then he was like, this has to be played in its entirety. And that's what this album is. You have to play this in its entirety. Disc 1, United in Grief, N95, Worldwide Steppers, Die Hard, featuring Black. You got to play this, let it roll, right? Yeah, of course, you're going to find songs here and there that, oh, I like that better. I like me, I like Die Hard, right? It's easy. It's an easy like. It's almost cliche to say, oh, I like Die Hard. That's my favorite song, right? It's cliche because it's clearly the most digestible song on here, to be honest with you, right? But there's so much on here that is not meant for easy digestion. Like We Cry Together featuring Taylor Page. Taylor Page is an actress. She's in the movie Zola, which, to my chagrin, is a highly awarded movie. Let's say that. It is very critically acclaimed, is what I'm trying to say. Black actress. And We Cry Together. When I first heard that, I was like, this is amazing. This is super art. It's not apologizing to anyone. It's not explaining itself. If you've ever been in that situation, you know how people talk. You know how when it really gets crazy with you and another person, right? Black or white, but this just happened to be a black couple, so they're going to have a lot of N-words in there, and they're going to have a lot of belittling. They're going to have a lot of insults. And he didn't dumb it down for the white people. He didn't dumb it down and make it clean for the kids. It was a full-on knockdown, drag out. F you, N-word, F you, N-word, F you. It was N-word. It was like probably, if you do a count on that, it's got to be like 300 N-words in there. But it made it more real. This chick, when I first heard, I thought she was a rapper. But I was like, you can tell. I'm like, how did they get together to write this together? If most female rappers are going to want to write. But she's an actress, so Kendrick wrote the whole thing, I'm going to assume, right? And when I'm listening, it's so passionate and raw. It's like, you can't, this is not something for the clubs. I played it for my wife. I'm like, I said, shorty, I'm going to take you in. I know I'm taking you in too fast. I'm supposed to let you start from track 1. But since you're in the car, we don't got that much time. I'm going to give you 2 quick joints. I hit it with Die Hard, and then I put on We Cry Together. and it was too soon. You got to build up to that. So she was like, that was a little bit much, right? She's like, that was a little bit much. That was a lot. And I was like, I know, I pulled you in too soon. You had to build to that, but it is a lot. It's very intense, and the pain and the passion on it are so. It's palliative. It's just so it's so aggressive. It's so aggressive. And then at the end, they want to have sex, and that's real life. You know how many of these relationships where these people they so mad at each other, they want to kill each other, and he's snatching her keys, and she's like, "Give me my keys, bro." It's like you're not even human anymore. You're just somebody in their way, right? And at the end, it's so toxic. All they can do is have sex. This is human, bruh. A lot of guys are doing raps. They're trying to do what people gonna like, what's gonna sound good, what's gonna make me look good, what's gonna make me sound cool, what's gonna make me sound connected with the youth, what's gonna make me sound. This ain't that. A lot of people would have been scared to go in the studio and even start a song like this, because they so scared of losing their record deal. They're so scared of losing their fans, right? They're so afraid of not being taken serious, or afraid of letting some emotions out that they may, God forbid, have an emotion about something. There's only few emotions that are deemed cool enough to put on a record. Outside of that, you definitely can't be having these type of outbursts and these intense conversations on these records. These rappers are scared of that. So as I listen to this album, I'm like, I like every single song. As you're listening to it, you're finding new ways to expand your mind and go different directions. Over here, he's talking about child abuse. Then over here, he's talking about transgenders. He's talking about his lesbian aunt and his transgender uncle, if I'm not mistaken, on Auntie Diaries. And it's so detailed. I mean, the hat turned backwards. It's so detailed. The Air Force One, she got the whip and she's playing rap music. He's writing rap. You're there. You're in the hood. This is unapologetic hood stuff. It's unapologetic real stuff. He's a kid watching his lesbian aunt, and he doesn't even know what that even means. He doesn't know why the uncles want to beat her up. Come to find out, they're jealous of her. Right? Because she's getting more chicks than, and it's real. I've seen some of the most, a 5 at best chick. Like the chick will be a 4 or 5 at best. And she'll have a dime on her arm. And you're like, literally, we did a show, right? In DC. I had a friend of mine, right? And I'm going to say her name because I hope she's listening. Her name was Jatetta. And me and Jatetta was real good friends. And then we tried to take it even further at one point. It just wasn't working. It didn't feel right. Didn't feel right. Wasn't working. Jatetta was, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't my type. Let's put it like that. Years later, I see Jatetta at this show. Right? I'm telling you, no less than 10 guys are trying to hit on the girl that she's with. And then she walks up and they're like, "You with her, ma? What's good? That's a waste. How you would?" Because she's with this baddest chick in this whole club. And dude spent the rest of the night trying to belittle Jatetta so they can take her girl from her. The entire night. It's jealousy. I seen it. It's jealousy. So he's talking about his aunt who has a lot of jealousy from these male relatives because she gets better chicks than they do. It's the next level of how long do you take to think of these things and put them in the rhyme form, right? How long do you take to think of these things? United in Grief, the first song, he's talking about masking himself behind jewelry and cars and clothes. And at the end of the day, you can't hide yourself behind none of that. At some point, he's doing things just because he can. Infinity pools and things like that. Millions of dollars worth of stuff, rollies and stuff, and it doesn't change who you are at the end of the day. Like a lot of us wish to buy that. He can buy all that. And it didn't make him a better person. There's so much to unpack on this album. Father time, the father issues, and if you're not the hardest one in the hood, or you got to find out how to, you better go out there and fight or don't come back. All of these issues that we're dealing with, the trauma, this is therapy at its highest level. This is a man who was blessed to be able to be smart and go through therapy, come out on the other side with all his flaws, and then not be afraid to tell us about them. He told us he cheated on his girl on this album. Right? He told us he cheated on his girl. What song was that? It was either Mother I Sober or Mirror. But he talks about cheating on his girlfriend, Whitney. He talks about having sex with white girls, that might be retaliation for his ancestors. And I'm sure a lot of guys think about that when they knee deep in these white girls, whatever, right? This is stuff they would never say out loud. You would never say that. It's so many levels to this album. Count Me Out. When he's talking about, I love when you count me out. A lot of people do it. It won't take long for people to start being like, oh, that album was all right, but let's see what he come next with. And then as he takes much longer and longer and longer, and where's the album, bro? After a while, they're going to be like, yo, just like Detox, we ain't getting no album. Like they did with this album before it dropped. A lot of people didn't expect it to be ever coming out. And a lot of them were like, it may not be as good as you think it's going to be. A lot of them were praying that it wasn't. But I'm going to tell you one thing I did notice. Almost in any form on social media, I have not heard anyone saying it was trash. I don't know what timelines you be on. Maybe you're on timelines with a lot of little kids who's scared of their emotions, or they're scared of grown man rap, or they love the nonsense, the goofy shit. But on my timelines, I ain't see nobody dissing this out. The best case scenario would be like, oh, I gotta listen to it more, but what I heard was good, but it ain't as dope as everybody trying to say. That's the best they can do. To say to knock this album. No one's saying it's garbage. Even the guys that hate it, want to hate it really bad, are still finding stuff on here to talk about that they can't say is whack. They're doing their best, right? It's so many songs on here. Purple Hearts featuring Summer Walker and Ghostface. A beautiful song. Summer Walker, I'm not even into her stuff like that. I'm not a big Summer Walker fan. I know about 3 songs of hers. I don't follow her around. I don't look for her music, but she sounds amazing on here. And Ghostface Killer is Ghostface. This is one of Ghostface's best verses. I'm sitting there thinking like, it's so dope. I'm like, did Kendrick give him talking points or something? Ghost is my man, but some of this stuff is so broad. Wiping the feet of Jesus. Like this guy Ghost is so dope. Ghost dope anyway. So it's just regular Ghostface verse. But it's so perfect, right? Because anybody could throw a brick verse. This song, right? This Ghostface verse is so, it's like he heard the whole album. It's like he heard the whole album. The verse is so broad. It's so tapped in. It's religions. It's gangsta. It's hard. It's soft. It's sad. It's melancholy. It's everything. It fits the album perfectly. It's like they was in sync. And that's the end of disc 1, I believe. And so disc 2 starts. Count Me Out, Crown, Silent Hill, featuring Kodak Black. And I want to talk about Kodak, right? I'm a Kodak. I don't know what you would. I'm not a detractor. I'm not going to say I'm a detractor. But I'm one of them people who didn't get the appeal of Kodak Black. I didn't get it. Right? I could see the melody, the melodic part. I'm like, some of his songs like, yo, this kid got a nice, he could flow melodically, right? It ain't nothing I'm going to be listening to. Put it like that. And he even surprised me with one of the songs he came out. This is an old song. was it? It might be Super Gremlin. It might be one of them joints where he was spitting a bunch of straight up like real game on there. Like I was like, this kid, I don't even think he can't possibly understand how real he's talking right now, right? And I'm not a fan like that. Like I'm like I'll check him out here and there, but I'm like his antics are too much. It's like Tupac on 100. So the stuff he does to get himself arrested and locked up, and every time you turn around, he back in him. You know what I'm saying? He's saying something stupid online to some girl, and he just, you know what I'm saying? He came at Lauren London, which was whatever, right? At the worst time to ever come at her, and I think he came at Liz. It's just like he just do ridiculous stuff, right? In my opinion. But Tupac did ridiculous stuff in his time. A lot of people don't remember that. You be like, come on, bro, why you doing? It's like, why? Come on. I'm not comparing him to Tupac. I'm just giving you, parables. So, at the end of the day, when he came on the first song, it was like he just said, blah, 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 blah. He introduced the song, right? I think it was, it might have been either Worldwide Steppers or the Rich Interlude, one or the other. And no, I think the Rich Interlude is him with the poem. And I'm listening to this poem, right? And if you have spent any time with this hip hop stuff, you know that a great poem is gonna be on really any really good album. They're gonna have a part where they say someone says a great poem that relates to the struggle of what we're going through. And when this guy starts spitting that poem, I was like, that sounds like Kodak. Like, I don't know if that's Kodak. Yeah, I know this ain't Kodak because it sounds too coherent. It was too well thought out, and it was too well. It touched on too many different struggle topics, and I was like, this can't be Kodak. He ain't this bright to put this much stuff into this many perspectives, and to just call it like it is, and just not sound ridiculous. And I'm like, wait, this is Kodak because he says it. I was like, bruh. This dude just went on a Kendrick record and actually sounded extremely in tune with what the record is about. Because the record ain't about one thing, it's about everything. Everything. Everything black and black culture and human culture. This kid tapped in with a very, very, in my opinion, I started thinking like, was the music there first? Did he write this without the music? Or did he get the music and then wrote it to the music? Like, in any event, no matter how he wrote this was very poignant. This was very poignant. Of what he was saying was very poignant to the topics on this album. It felt like he had heard it out. I'm like, man, did everybody hear this album? Like, were they sworn to secrecy? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, this dude is really saying something. So I was really surprised because he got the intro to the song, then he does the poem, and then he got a verse later. So he was there. He was rocking with this guy for a minute. Because you don't just get all that time on this album if you're not there for a minute, right? It's so much to talk about. Mother I Sober, featuring Beth Gibbons of Portishead. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the song where he's talking about they tried to say his cousin sexually assaulted him, and he told him no, and they didn't believe him. And he's talking about, I believe that's the one where he's talking about this girl where he cheated on her and he told her he was he lied and said he wasn't a sex addict. And she gave him a number saying you need help. And I also believe there's some other stuff going on in that song I can't really divulge right now, but it's just so much going on. I probably should have said spoiler alert or something before I start this video. But Savior, Baby Keem he went nuts, right? This kid, I'm going to assume that he's being groomed to be the next Kendrick. Because this guy's bars, this guy's verse on here, you know, some albums, when they let somebody get a song, it take the whole album down, and it's like, oh, man, you start skipping it. You don't need to skip this song. You don't need to skip it. This guy holds it down crazy. Right? And a lot of these little, some guys will make a nice point, And that the whole song, it'll be the hook. Everything is about that one topic. They got to make an entire song. The hook, the next hook. They gotta show you that I'm deep. They got to make an entire song. This guy will say one line of deepness and go on to the next one like he didn't, like it never was said. Like it didn't matter. It was just throwing it out there, right? How we revere this Instagram stuff. How we revere brands, right? He said, I hope you really pray when you said them thoughts and prayers. When you sent them thoughts and prayers when somebody died. And we're like, that should have changed. That should change a lot of people's lives. Because we quick to write my condolences, thoughts and prayers, praying for you, put the prayer mode. But did you really pray? Right? It's all about all of us being better. This guy clearly has some therapeutic time. He spent some time in therapy, a lot of it. This is self-healing. This is self-helping. This is and this is like when these are things you say alone. You could close the closet, get in it, pitch black, and you could say these things to yourself. You would never say these things out loud. You would never say these things out loud. And that's what makes it fantastic. When I hear, especially older people, they start saying stuff like, this generation, this guy, his voice too light. The music is too weak. I can't, my era is hard. My era is hard. He don't have enough bass in his voice. He don't have enough, the beats are too light. You're doing exactly what he says on here when you're hiding behind trauma and pain and using a gangster persona to be this invincible machine, untouchable, right? That's exactly what's happening when I see these older guys reject this kid out of sheer just trying to live in the past, right? In many occasions, I'm older than them. So they ain't telling me nothing, right? You're not telling me nothing. A lot of the stuff they try to say, it was so much greater and so much better with this guy, that guy. No, you just have a short memory. You're stuck on a frame of where you thought music stopped at. A lot of these guys think rap stopped in 1999 and won't play nothing after that. A lot of these guys think 2003, their last record that's the CD that they bought. And ain't nothing gonna be better than that. I kept listening to music after that, right? I kept listening to music after Aquemini, okay? I kept listening to music after Blueprint. I kept listening to music after all that. I kept listening to music after Scarface. I kept listening. A lot of these guys, their last CD is the last CD they play. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who's still making good quality music. So they first instinct is to diss it. Their first instinct is to dismiss it. And when I say stuff like Kendrick is in my top 10, just to put him in my top 10, they mind explode, their head fall off their shoulders, and their eyes roll in their head. They start to gasp and choke because they can't process one of these guys who ain't had a song since 1994 not being the GOAT, right? I still listen to music to this day. Right? I have an open mind because I love the culture. The culture don't stay the same. You ain't still doing the same stuff you did in 93. But they want to revere the stuff from 93. They don't want to move it forward. I'm not like that. Now get it, I still know when new music sounds good and when it don't. But a lot of these guys won't allow this Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to breathe. They won't give it a chance because they're stuck in the past in a time. Of course, if I watched Power Rangers when I was 8 and it blew my mind, do you think I'm going to be 28 saying that something was better than the Power Rangers when I was 8 years old? No, nothing's ever going to be better than that. No matter what they make, no matter what they do, I'm going to be eternally attached to the Power Rangers. The Blue Ranger, Yellow Ranger, Pink Ranger. I'm going to be like, oh my, there's nothing better than the Black Ranger. Did you see those dance moves? I'm going to be all in with that. But in reality, something is better than that. There's a lot of stuff that was better than the Power Rangers. That when you turn 10 and 11 and 12, there's a lot of things better than Good Burger and all the stuff that you was watching, right? And some stuff is masterpieces and some stuff is classic. People cannot stand that I use the word classic. They can't stand it. It drives them insane. If you ask most of these guys who even have the word classic, if they're young, their classics are nonsense. But if it's someone who has been in this game, has been around for a while, and are able to tell you what the classics are, most of them won't give you a classic past 1999. It's a fact. The thought makes them cringe. It gives them the shingles to think that you could possibly deem something greater than the stuff that they feel is the epitome of rap. You're trying to tell me there hasn't been a classic since Illmatic? There hasn't been a classic since Paid in Full? There hasn't been a classic, oh my God, Reasonable Doubt? When Reasonable Doubt came out in what? 94? 95? 96? 25 years ago. So you haven't seen nothing. Nothing has moved you. Right? And I just sat there and told you my top 5, my top 10. Everybody in that thing is 50 years old. Right? But I had to move some of them out. Because time changes, bruh. I can't have Ice Cube forever. Right? It has to be somebody progress this thing. Because at one point, Ice Cube was the new rapper. You know how many years rap had been out before Ice Cube? Do you understand how long rap had already been out before Ice Cube made a song? A lot. Right? Rap started in the 70s. You know how many rappers was before Ice Cube? NWA was like 86, 87. They was calling people old school already. Oh, he's an old school rapper. Here he goes. Love Bug Starsky. Let's get some old school. Do you understand? Your top 10 was newbies at one point. They laughed at Rakim when he first went to record his first music with Marley Marl. Right? When Marley Marl first recorded Rakim, they laughed at him. They said, your voice is too high. Nobody's going to like you. He said they clowned him viciously. Now, Rakim is arguably considered the best rapper in the entire world. But when he first came out, they was like, you? Give it up. So, end of the day, it shifts, buddy. We got to give somebody a chance to make this thing continue on. And that's why I say this album is, this is a magnum, how you say, magnum opus? This is, I would be hard pressed to find an album more complete than this. You're going to say, oh, what about Illmatic? What about it? If Nas had put 10 more songs on it, that joint would probably be garbage. Right? Illmatic is 10 songs. It's 10 songs. If you give me 10 songs and I'm going to pick the best songs I've ever made, I'll probably come out with a pretty decent project. This album has 18 songs. This is a double CD. When have you ever heard somebody say a double CD from front to back was amazing? Front to back, universally? I'm going to wait for you to say it, right? What's Biggie's double CD called? It's not. What's it? Bigger than something, right? Life After Death. Life After Death aged well because when it first came out, this was one of the most mixed reviewed projects in history. It's a fact. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people was on the bubble with it, me included. I was like, it got some joints on, all right joints on there, but it's too much tomfoolery on there. I know what girls like. They want. It's too much tomfoolery. But as I got older, and as this album played long, I was like, yo, Big is a genius. They knew what they were doing with this album. They hit every single angle with this album. It's an amazing piece of work, but it wasn't accepted universally like that when it first dropped. I'm just telling you facts. You can say what you want, but it was a lot of people that was on the bubble with that Big double CD. It was a lot of critical. That I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but there were a lot of critics that was like, it's okay, but it's too much filler. This album right here, in my opinion, there is zero filler. I think if you take away one song from here, you messed the album up. I don't think there's no filler on here. I think there's too many songs that relate to the next song. I think there's too much discussed in the beginning that you need at the end. That it won't make sense without the songs. This is a work of art. It's genius. I don't know what you want me to say. This thing is amazing. And when I first heard the title, of course you're not going to know what Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers mean. It makes no sense. But once you hear it, it all makes sense, right? I don't understand, right? The people who go and try to compare album for album. We all do it. Oh, is Supreme Clientele better than Iron Man? We do it. We do it, right? Is 36 Chambers better than Wu-Tang Forever? We do it all the time. I don't know if this warrants that kind of respect. Is it better than To Pimp a Butterfly? Is it better than Section 80? I know we do that as hip hop. I think these things are so standalone. They are such pieces of art in their own. I don't think we go, that Da Vinci, is it better than that Da Vinci? Is that Basquiat better than that Basquiat? I don't think we do that with any other forms of art. I don't think we compare paintings against paintings. I don't think we compare this vase versus that vase. I don't think we do that, right? But somehow with this hip hop stuff, each album got to be compared to the last album. Now, if you're asking me, compare the albums, which album do you like better, right? It's a weird answer. I like them all equally for what they all are. They all have something different. I don't have an order. I don't have an album that's better than this album. They all so sonically sound. To put one above the other one is saying one is whack and one is bad and one is good. They all good. Every single album this man has done. That's why I say this guy is the best MC in the history of rap. Right? His run is longer than anybody else's, in my opinion. You're going to say, well, what about KRS-One? You're going to say, what about Jay-Z? Ain't he still? Yes, he is. Right? But it's my opinion. I feel like Jay-Z hit a stretch where his music was just okay. And then he retired and then came back with a subpar album. This hasn't happened with Kendrick. I'm just telling you the facts, bruh. Jay-Z he makes amazing music. That is my guy. Don't get it messed up. I'm going to defend Jay's work forever. This guy is the GOAT, right? But he has never put a string of records, in my opinion, full-on albums of this quality, right? I know some of you like what's the I just said the name earlier. No, the Magna Carta. Now, Magna Carta was before 444. If I'm tripping, let me know. 444. I got on this channel and told you 444 was a classic. Magna Carta was before that. That wasn't no classic. Right? It's a couple good tracks. That, as a matter of fact, it's arguably probably his second, I'm not gonna say worst, but it's probably next to Kingdom Come. You got Magna Carta right there at the bottom of the list of Jay-Z albums. That is a broken streak. Yeah, it went number one. He got all these people from Motorola to, he got 20 million people to listen to the album to get the phone. It came with the phone, right? Which is whatever. I'm not knocking it. It was smart. It's genius. But, and I'll be the first to say, they had to listen to it for the numbers to count. So it counted. It counted, right? But doesn't mean sonically it was a great album. And I fought like hell to tell people that album was a great album. Oh, Tom Ford ain't as bad as you think. Like I was one of the people fighting for that album to be looked at as people were trying to knock it, right? You got the Justin Timberlake song, like it was like a rich man rapping. I'm just gonna keep it honest with you. And I had my songs on there, a couple songs on there, okay? But it wasn't a solid piece of work as it could have been, as 444 was. He locked himself in a room with no ID. It wasn't all over the place. It wasn't no Timberland track, this and that. So therefore, he was able to, and he cleansed himself of a lot of baggage on that album. And that's what we want to hear. Grown man rap should not be this goofy caricature of a man. Like, men don't live, real grown men that have real grown issues, they're not pill popping caricatures with money phones to their ear and watches that cost $250,000. That's not the average man. I'm sorry to inform you, that ain't a real man to me. That's somebody that has elevated and found a way to hustle the game and made a lot of money. That's great. But even Future has real stuff going on. Somebody in his family's calling him for something that they need his help immediately, right? One of his kids is like, Daddy, come play with me. It's real stuff going on that you can't rap about because you scared. He's had trauma, I'm sure. Now, I don't listen to his music a lot, but I'm sure there's been trauma in this man's life that he will never rap about. And that, to me, is anime. If every song comes on and it's about the club and popping pills and throwing money, that's not real life to me. I'm sorry. It's not real life to me. So, with a record like this that's about real subjects, right? Real aunties, real uncles, real moms, real dads telling us that our trauma is real, right? And telling us that we're dumb in a lot of ways, where we chase a lot of stuff that don't make no sense. And we love it. End of the day, this album, to me, is a classic. 5 mic classic, whatever you want to say. It's so well-rounded. I don't even talk to people about beats. When someone starts talking about beats, I realize they're not really tuned into this music. Right? Yeah, beats are great. Beats are great. But when you're talking about art, it ain't always about the beat. And somebody is always addressing about a beat. It speaks to your level of creativity if all you know is the beat. So no, I don't look at this for all the beat. The beats are great. It has great beats, but some of these songs don't have no beat at all. Some of these songs are just piano riffs. and synthesizers, and it's edited perfectly. This is a work of art. This is a perfect painting. Somebody painted every single dot on this thing. So, in hindsight, right? I don't know what everybody's opinion. I haven't read really any reviews. I've been reading articles talking about it, but not reviews. I haven't watched anyone's review. I don't know what the consensus is, but what I do know is what I believe. And this is a classic. It's a classic. This is what a classic is going to look like. And I guarantee you, and it's going hard. It's going to be hard. I'm going to get out of it. It's going to hurt. I'm going to get out of here, though. And this is going to hurt me to say it. I guarantee a lot of the classics people talking about as classics in 10 years going to sound goofy. Right? I'm just going to be honest with you. Some stuff is just goofy. But at the time, it was great. And that's all I want to say about that. There are artists that I revered, and I've said this before, and I love Nice and Smooth. But I used to think Nice and Smooth was just the shit. Like, I was Nice and Smooth. I went back and listened to Nice and Smooth's music recently, and I was like, I cannot believe I thought these albums was good. They're horrible. And those are my guys. Their singles are made. They pick great singles. Their albums are complete trash. And I love them dudes. They made horrible albums. Clumsy hooks and it's just all not good, right? But Nice and Smooth will forever be cemented in hip hop as two of the greatest. The duo itself, they got the song with Gangstar Dwick. They got Hip Hop Junkies. They are revered. To be honest with you, they only revered for like 3 or 4 tracks, but they are cemented forever in hip hop history as two of the greatest, right? Greg Nice and Smooth B. Shout out to them. They are awesome. But that's what sometimes when we look back at stuff, that's not going to happen with Kendrick's music. None of it. You're not going to look at it in 10 years and be like, ooh, that didn't age well. That's all I'm going to say about that. You let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a classic album? And define that word classic. Right? It's a lot of variables to make a classic. But I'm not going to hold you. My name is Challz Brown. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go down in that playlist, look up my music. I got some music down there. I got a lot of other videos. I got a podcast I do with Dante and Fliz every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Also, essentialvarieties.org, Black-owned business, ships you goods that you need, such as soap, shampoo, condoms, whatever you need. All right? essentialvarieties.org. I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Thank you for watching. Peace.
CLB.